They promised to stand by you, always. But where are they now? Think about the moments you fell, your darkest hours. Who was there? Most weren't, and that's the truth they don't tell you. Company, it's comforting, but it's fragile. A house of cards built on mutual need. When the wind blows, it falls. Solitude doesn't betray you. It doesn't make promises it can't keep. It's harsh, yes, but true. What if the one ally you've been running from is the only one you can trust? They tell you that no one walks alone, that life is a shared journey, meant to be filled with companions who'll stand by you, no matter what. But here's the truth. When the walls close in, when the ground beneath you shake, most of them vanish. Have you noticed it? Those you thought would never leave suddenly aren't there. The calls go unanswered. The words of comfort, silent. They say it's not personal. They were too busy, caught up in their own struggles. Maybe that's true. Or maybe they were never really there at all. Company feels good. It gives you warmth, reassurance, a sense of belonging. But here's the uncomfortable reality. It's an illusion, a fragile construct designed to make us feel safe in a world that doesn't care. The moment the weight becomes too much, the illusion breaks. And where does that leave you? Alone, stripped of the promises, the empty reassurances, the lies we all buy into. Yet, this isn't a tragedy. It's clarity. Solitude, though harsh, doesn't betray you. It doesn't vanish when the storm arrives. You've been told solitude is loneliness, something to be feared, avoided. But what if that's the lie? What if solitude isn't your enemy, but your most loyal ally? Ask yourself, when everything fell apart, who picked you back up? Was it the company you clung to, or the strength you found in the silence? The world will tell you to seek comfort in others, but perhaps the only comfort worth seeking lies within. The only ally who will never leave, never falter, never betray, is solitude itself. Are you ready to face it, to embrace what the noise of the crowd has kept you from seeing? Stay with me. The truth unfolds from here. Think about the people you've trusted most, the ones you believed would stand by you. How often have they really been there when it mattered? Not when life was easy, not when things were going well, but when everything collapsed. You reached out, hoping for a hand, a word, something to remind you that you weren't alone. But what did you get? Excuses, silence, maybe even indifference. Here's the truth they don't like to talk about. People are loyal to their convenience. When helping you doesn't disrupt their world, they're there. But the moment it costs them something, time, energy, focus, you're left in the cold. It's not because they're cruel. It's because people are fragile, flawed, self-serving. They have their own struggles, their own chaos. And when their world feels heavy, they let go of yours. Yet, we keep going back, chasing this false sense of security, telling ourselves, this time will be different. But is it? Or are we just repeating the same painful cycle? There's no shame in wanting connection. You're a human. You crave understanding, companionship, someone to tell you you're not alone. But ask yourself, how often have those promises been empty? Now look at solitude. It's quiet, yes, unforgiving, but it never lies to you. It doesn't promise what it can't deliver. It doesn't walk away when things get hard. The world teaches you to avoid solitude, to fill every moment with noise, distractions, people. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? Maybe it's because they know something you don't. That solitude forces you to confront the things you're running from, the truths no one else will tell you. And that's why it's your only real ally. Because while the crowd comforts you with lies, solitude sharpens you with truth. But the question remains, are you brave enough to face it? Or will you keep chasing the illusion, hoping it doesn't break again? Stay with me. This is just the beginning. They smile at you. They nod when you speak. They say, "I'm here if you need me." But how often do those words mean what you think they do? Connection feels real. It feels strong, but most of the time it's surface level, a thin layer of pleasantries hiding what's really beneath. Self-interest. People connect because it benefits them. It fills their voids. It feeds their egos. But when the cost outweighs the gain, those connections crumble. You've seen it happen. When you needed them most, suddenly, they were busy, and yet you cling to it. Why? Because society tells you to. Because movies, songs, and endless advice tell you, you can't do it alone. But they never warn you about the cost of dependence, the heartbreak of expecting someone to show up, and watching them walk away instead. There's a reason solitude is feared. It forces you to ask hard questions. It doesn't let you hide behind distractions or the false comfort of shallow relationships. It pushes you to face yourself, to confront the silence most people run from. But here's the paradox. The more you embrace solitude, the less alone you feel, because solitude doesn't judge you. It doesn't leave when things get messy. It stays. It listens. It gives you the space to process, to grow, to build a foundation so strong, no betrayal, no abandonment can shake it. Look back on your life, the times you've risen from failure, the moments you've overcome the impossible. Was it because someone carried you? Or was it because deep down, you found something in yourself? Something the world couldn't take away. That's the power of solitude. It strips away the noise, the lies, the illusion of connection. It leaves you with the raw truth. You are stronger than you think. But strength comes at a cost. Are you willing to pay it? Or will you keep searching for answers in the faces of others, knowing they've let you down before and will again? Hold on. The most uncomfortable truths are waiting for you. The silence scares most people. It's raw, unfiltered, and honest. When there's no one else around, there's no one to blame, no one to distract you from the things you'd rather ignore. But that's exactly where transformation begins. Think about it. When you strip away the noise, the excuses, the comforting lies, what's left? You. Only you. And for many, that's terrifying, because we've been taught to fear our own company. Why? Because solitude reveals the cracks we pretend aren't there. It forces you to confront every failure, every insecurity, every unspoken fear, and most people aren't ready for that. But those who are, they unlock a strength no one can take away. Solitude doesn't weaken you, it sharpens you. Into the silence, you learn to face the chaos in your mind. You stop relying on others to validate you. You stop searching for meaning in fleeting connections. Instead, you build something solid, something unshakable. And here's the irony. The more you embrace solitude, the less lonely you feel. Because solitude isn't about isolation. It's about independence. It's about finding strength within yourself instead of begging for it from others. Think about the strongest moments in your life, the times you surprised even yourself. Were they handed to you by others, or did they come from a quiet resolve you didn't know you had? This is what solitude gives you. Clarity, strength, self-awareness, the ability to stand tall even when the world tries to knock you down. And yet, the world still tells you to fear it, to drown it out with noise, distractions, and shallow connections. But why? Is it because they want you to stay weak, dependent? The question isn't whether solitude is hard. It is. The question is whether you're willing to face it, to embrace its honesty, to use it as a weapon to rise above the illusions others cling to. So, are you ready? Or will you let the fear of silence keep you chained? The path forward will demand more from you than you've ever given. The world thrives on illusions. The illusion of companionship, the illusion of certainty, the illusion that someone, somewhere, will save you. But here's the harsh truth. No one is coming to save you. And that's exactly why you need to save yourself. Think about the promises you've heard. I'll always be there. You can count on me. Those words feel good, don't they? But they're just that. Words. Fragile, empty, easily broken when life becomes inconvenient. The illusion of company is comforting, but it's a trap. It keeps you tethered to false hopes, dependent on people who can't shoulder your burdens. And the more you depend, the more powerless you feel when they disappear. Solitude, on the other hand, is brutal. It doesn't coddle you. It doesn't lie. But it gives you something far more valuable. Freedom. The freedom to rely on no one but yourself. When you stop chasing the illusion, everything changes. You stop waiting for others to validate your worth. You stop begging for love, attention, or approval. Instead, you build your own foundation. And here's where the real power lies. Once you master solitude, no one can control you. You're not afraid of being abandoned. You're not shattered by rejection. Because you've already faced the hardest truth there is. You are your only true ally. But make no mistake, this path isn't easy. It will demand everything from you. The courage to face yourself, the patience to sit with your pain, the strength to rebuild your life brick by brick, without leaning on others to hold it together. Most people won't take this path. They'll cling to their illusions, convincing themselves that this time, things will be different. But it won't. Because illusions, by their nature, always shatter. So, the choice is yours. Will you keep chasing shadows, hoping they'll solidify? Or will you step into the silence and find the strength waiting there? The final truth is near, and it might be the hardest one yet. So now you see it, don't you? The illusion you've stuck to all your life, the promises that fell apart, the connections that vanished when you needed them most. It's painful to admit, but it's necessary. Because only when the illusion breaks can the truth set you free. Here's that truth. Solitude is not your enemy. It's your ally. The only one that never abandons you. The only one that forces you to grow stronger, sharper, and more resilient. When the noise fades, when the crowd disperses, when the promises fail, solitude remains. It's there in the silence, in the discomfort, in the mirror that reflects everything you've avoided. But here's the beauty of it. Solitude doesn't just show you your weaknesses. It shows you your strength. The strength you've been too afraid to trust. The strength buried beneath layers of dependence, fear, and doubt. The world will keep telling you otherwise. It will tell you to seek comfort in others, to avoid the silence at all costs. But why? Because solitude makes you untouchable. It makes you fearless. It strips away the illusions that keep you controlled. And when you embrace it, you become something few ever achieve. Someone who isn't afraid to stand alone. Someone who doesn't need the approval of others. Someone who can't be broken by betrayal, abandonment, or loss. But this journey isn't for everyone. Most will turn back. They'll choose the easy path, the one paved with comforting lies, the one that keeps them chasing after a fleeting sense of belonging. The question is, will you be different? Will you face the silence? Will you embrace the discomfort? Will you uncover the strength you've always had, but were too afraid to see? The choice is yours. Stay in the illusion or break free. But if you're ready to take that step, if you're ready to trust yourself, know this. Solitude won't just change you. It will set you free. And freedom, real freedom, is worth everything. Don't just watch this video and move on. I invite you. Take a moment. Give yourself 10 minutes of uninterrupted silence. You might be surprised by who you meet in the quiet. Are you ready to meet the real you?